Hey guys, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. Today I want to walk you through this fun note card. This note card features a bunch of brand new Stampin' Up! Product that'll be available June 1st from the new 2017-2018 catalog. If I can help you out with a copy of this catalog, you can email me, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com, or buzz over to kitchentablestamper.com and fill out the catalog request form. This card is a case of one of the cards that we did at Onstage. This is the card that we made at Onstage, and although it was fine, I wanted to come home and make this card my very own. So this is my version of the card. The new products that we're using from Stampin' Up! Are the Daisy Punch and the Daisy Delight stamp set. These will be available June 1st as a bundle. We're also going to use the Eastern Beauty stamp set. I love the little rounded curved sentiments that are in this Eastern Beauty stamp set. This is also a product that's coming out June 1st in the new Stampin' Up! Catalog, but currently through May 31st you can get the Eastern Beauty stamp set as part of one of two bundles from the Eastern Palace suite. And each of the bundles includes some free product, and it's a nice way to get Stampin' Up! Stuff first before the catalog's available with a free gift. So if you buzz over to my blog to this post, you'll see information about this bundle, or links to this information about this bundle in that blog post. But we're going to use this really pretty A Note for You curved greeting. I think it matches perfectly with our Daisy Delight. I'm also using my Swirly Bird spatter stamp here. I know you can't barely take that out of my hand, but this stamp we're going to use. I'm using the Stitched Shapes framelits. We're going to use the biggest stitched circle. I have some of the mini chevrons ribbon. This is a new product from Stampin' Up! Available June 1st. This one is in the crushed curry color. I've got the faceted gold gems. Those are a new embellishment that'll be available soon. Some gold metallic thread. This is available currently from the Stampin' Up! Catalog. Our ink pad colors are Old Olive, Daffodil Delight, and the brand new Tranquil Tide. Now somebody had asked me if I would compare Tranquil Tide to Bermuda Bay, and so let's take a look at the cardstock for this project and I'll compare those colors. So this is the Bermuda Bay. We are using for this project a half sheet, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, Tranquil Tide. So there you go. I got pretty good sunlight right now, so that's a good depiction of the color difference. You'll notice that the Bermuda Bay is a brighter color. The Tranquil Tide is got some neutral gray tone to it, and it's much darker. Maybe even, I don't know, a bit more green. They're complementary. They work well together. So that's the difference. Tranquil Tide, Bermuda Bay. We're going to use the Tranquil Tide. I've also got a piece of 2 3/4 by 5.5 Daffodil Delight. This is my stitched circle cut from Whisper White. It's the biggest one. Got a piece of 1 3/4 by 2 3/4 Old Olive. And then I've got pieces of the new Delightful Daisy Designer Series paper. It's the same piece, just we're going to use both sides. This is 1 inch by 5.5, and this one is 2 inches by 5.5. Let me show you some of the other patterns in that Designer Series paper pack. This one. There's the back side. This is the one we're using today, and the back side. Then we got this pretty Calypso coral with the multicolor flower, and the pretty Old Olive basket weave, or kind of a herringbone pattern with the daisies. And then Old Olive stripes. It's very distressed. And on the back side of that one we have big yellow daisies, very happy paper. And then there's this beautiful multicolored daisy bouquet pattern, and it has a pretty Night of Navy stripe on the back. So that's a brand new paper. let's get started right away with some stamping. I'll get my Stampin' Pierce mat and some ink pads and we'll get going. Okay, we're gonna do a lot of color on color stamping here. I'm gonna start with my little spatter and Tranquil Tide, and I'm going to just stamp a little bit of interest off of the corner, and I'm gonna also stamp some at the bottom there. Then I'm going to take my little daisy image from the stamp set and position a couple of these up here in the corner. You want to tilt the daisies this way and that. And then I've got the stem. We'll add stems to our daisies. Now, I'm afraid that the stem is so long that it might poke out from underneath and get in my spatters a little bit, so I'm just gonna grab a Post-it note real quick and just make sure that my stems don't embarrass me down below there. So we've got 1, 2, and I think I'm gonna turn this one around for this third one here. All right, can remove the Post-it note and see, now they won't poke out from underneath my pattern paper banners. We'll put that aside, and I've got a stitched circle and Whisper White cardstock and the Tranquil Tide again. Now we'll try the Tranquil Tide on Whisper White. The sentiment says, "A note for you." We'll just stamp it to follow the curve of our circle. I need 3 Old Olive leaves, so we're going to stamp that 3 times on our scrap of Old Olive. And we'll set that aside to cut. Now that great big daisy, I love this image. We're gonna stamp that twice with Daffodil Delight on Daffodil Delight cardstock. Now a little trick for you, when you're using that daisy punch, if you cut the corners off of your cardstock, it's easier to line up that punch. I don't know why the punch doesn't like corners, but I've learned something and I'm happy to share with you. Okay, so I'm gonna punch from the bottom looking in. You see, without that corner there to get in the way, we can line that up quite perfectly and very easily just give it a punch out. And I'm gonna put that aside and punch the other. Okay, last step here on the top flower, we're gonna use the flower center and just give it a little texture. Now I'm going to cut out the leaves. I'll fussy cut them. And then I'm going to cut the banners with a dovetail edge. Okay, so I'm back now and I'm cutting my banners. Of course, you can use the banner triple punch for this. Sometimes mine turn out straight and sometimes they don't, but that banner triple punch makes it really easy. I have a glue dot and put it on the back of the top flower that has the center stamped. We're going to alternate the petals, so we want to fill the gaps. And then with our bone folder, we want to roll these top petals up a little bit. You want to do it gently so that you don't pull the petal off the flower. And then once you've rolled the top one up, you kind of want to use your bone folder and roll the bottom layer of petals down. So I'm happy with the shape of my flower. I'm going to get a dimensional, put it on the back, right in the center. And on the front, we're going to put one of these fun little faceted gems. Look at them, aren't they fancy? All right. Uh-oh, runaway gem. There it is. They're self-adhesive, they're wonderful. Now back to our card base. Let's take the pattern banners and put some adhesive on back. They're a little bit longer than they need to be, so don't put the adhesive all the way to the end. We'll be trimming that off the edge of the card. So I've got this bottom one on a very slight angle up, and it starts about 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom of the page. And then come in with the Tranquil Tide one, and it's got a little bit stronger angle. I want it to be a little, I don't know, whimsical. Then I'm going to take a piece of tear and tape and some ribbon, and we're going to make our ribbon a self-adhesive sticker. So we'll start by cutting off a length that's a bit longer than we need, because we want to trim the edge nice and tidy. And then we'll get the tear and tape on the back. Peel and stick. And you want to just cover where the two pattern papers join. Then flip the card over and you'll cut off all the excess, including the little end of the ribbon there. You'll want sharp scissors because you're going to be going through 2 layers of designer series paper and the ribbon. There it is. Then some dimensionals for our sentiment panel. I've got the metallic gold thread here, and you want about an arm's length. And then expose the adhesive on the dimensional and tack one end of the thread in. And then from the front, you want to just make big, loose loops. Okay, I've got that the way I like it. And we're going to come in and put it off center. It's not exactly in the center of our circle because we don't want to cover our sentiment. Tack that guy down. And then lastly, I've got the little leaves that we cut out earlier and some snail adhesive. I'm going to run some snail adhesive on the back of each of these leaves. Not quite to the point of the leaf, because as I adhere them to the card, I'm going to roll the leaf just a little bit between my thumb and forefinger. We'll add them in, 2 on one side and 1 on the opposite. Okay, so there's our card featuring the new Daisy Delight. If you've got any questions about the 2017-18 Stampin' Up! Catalog, if I can do anything Stampin' Up! For you, if you have any questions about this project, email me, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. Thanks for watching.